In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to build a dashboard view. As you can see from this example, you can use the dashboard to show all kinds of KPIs and keep track of what's going on in PowerPick. For example, we've got orders that have yet to be completed. We've got all the transactions that have been completed over the day. We've got a chart of our hourly progression and some other information here about our bins and if we're running out of space in our VLM. So we're going to get started with creating a brand new view and starting from scratch. You're going to give this view a name. You can start from one that you've already created, or you can just start from scratch. And you can also decide, and you can change this later, if you'd like to share this view with your team so anyone else who logs in is able to see it or use it as a template. So let's get started with a nice blank space and we can get started. So you're going to hit this edit view to start adding your widgets. Now when you create your widgets, you can resize them to anything you want. You can drag them around. Let's just make this nice and big and central so we can see what we're working on. When you get into hit this here, this edit widgets, you can give your widget a new name. Let's just call this a widget number 1. And then you're going to choose from the snapshots that you've created already in your reports. I've got a long list here of all the snapshots I've made, but we're going to start with adding our picks by hour snapshot that we created earlier. You can choose the kind of chart here. In this case, I know that I want a bar chart because this is a chart that's grouped by hour, so it's going to show every hour the amount of picks that have been completed, so I want to see that in a bar chart. So I'm going to add this here. I can change my color. I like to use green for picks. And I could add other snapshots as well. Now the thing to keep in mind is if you're going to add multiple snapshots to a widget, they need to be from a report with the same theme, which means if I'm gonna, this snapshot came from a history themed report, so if I want to add more snapshots, they also need to come from history reports. That's typically what you'd want anyways. Let's say you wanted to compare puts by hour and counts by hour. Those are all going to be history transactions, so you probably will want to do that anyway. So let's finish editing this here to see how this looks. Now I'm going to refresh it, and let's get back to that view. There we have it. There's that snapshot that we set up with the colors that we wanted. Now for this snapshot, we might also like to compare the picks per hour to the puts per hour. So let's go ahead and add another snapshot to this. So I've created a puts per hour snapshot in another report. I'm going to set this color to yellow. And let's call this something a little bit more helpful. We'll call it productivity over today. Or how about just today? Let's finish editing that here. And now we can see the values of both, and they are stacking. You can hover over it to see the quantities, and these will most likely be much higher numbers. So you can hover over to see, but they'll stack on top of each other, so you can see both at the same time in comparison.